It's Matthew Montañez from Big Small Magazine, interviewing Aztlan Underground. So you guys want to introduce yourselves, your names and where you play?
Gacho, play the percussion, drums.
Joe, play bass and flutes.
I'm alone, so I play guitar, synthesizer, beats.
Yeah, I would do vocals and a little bit of percussion.
So you guys have been playing for 20 years now, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to ask, how did you guys get started? Or at what point did you form as a group?
Well, it started actually, like probably one of the original members or whatever. And then, but these guys been putting in years. But when it started, I ended up, I came out of the punk rock scene, like in the '80s. And it wasn't politicized. It was oriented to questioning things and trying to use music as a way of communicating ideas and stuff. So around the late '80s, I got turned on to the understanding of what our identity is as Chicanos, as indigenous people. And then around that time, late '80s, is when you had groups like Public Enemy and Boogie Down Production, talking about self-empowerment and black empowerment and stuff like that. And so we had an idea of, we wanted to try to bridge the indigenous instruments, indigenous identity into hip-hop and talk about identity, talk about who we are and that we're not Hispanic or Latino. That was really our focus. And so we actually started in '88, but we had all these different names, and it was me and this guy named Bean and Bulldog and actually this other guy from my old punk band. And but by November '90, which is this month, 20 years, that's when it was Bean and Bulldog, which is his former members. And Bean was a DJ, Bulldog was another vocalist, and we ended up kind of doing a lot of identity politics, and then soon after that's when the idea of doing more than just hip hop emerged to Joe and Zoe, and then last 7 years Gacho. So that's how we ended up, manifesting. But we've had a lot of personnel in and out throughout there, like another drummer named Rudy and another drummer named Ace and stuff like that. So we started out like basically identity politics, but as we evolved, we got inspired by groups like Zapatista movement in 1994, but also our own self-exploring, and we're still trying to just explore different kind of consciousness, and from a human being perspective, I guess that's what we started.
Cool. And so were there any or are there still any specific, like you're saying, political perspectives or just life perspectives that you're specifically trying to project through your music? Or is it just sort of a reflection of however you feel at the time when you're creating it?
I don't know, at this moment, for me, for example, I think it's kind of hard to explain since it's four different personalities in the group, and I think that's where we're at right now, that each of us is coming together as one to create, you know what I'm saying? It's we all have different politics and different, different ways with the way we see the world and spirituality and whatever, whatever. Then just so happens that when we do it together, just, I don't know, whatever we do, it just comes out,
Cool. Is that what creates your, people refer to your style of music as fusion music, where you have a bunch of different styles mixed into one? Is that sort of where that comes from also? You just sort of,
Well, we have all different influences of music. I mean, we do listen to jazz and fusion if it is, or stuff like that, but we always make sure that we incorporate the tribalism into it, more than anything, we're urban tribal people, so it merges with electronical industrial sounds with the natural elements of drums and flutes and rattles and all the things that represent nature, in a sense.
Cool. So I mean, throughout your 20 years, you guys played a ton of shows. Have you traveled a lot of different parts of the world? Where have you been?
Australia, Europe, Europe,
Venezuela,
Canada,
Canada,
Mexico.
Mexico,
So
Basque Country in Spain.
And how do you feel your music is accepted out there? You know, people-
It's sometimes, well, especially this new record, we haven't explored it out there yet, you know, but we are getting a lot of different hits from like Germany, Australia, you know, as our music's being played out there and so on now, but the last record, as we traveled different places, like for instance, like the Basque Country and so on, it got really good, you know, notoriety in the sense of like what we're doing, and you know, especially when we're experimenting with like a tribalism in a sense, you know, like a lot of the people in Basque Country, you know, really relate, and different people. Mexico too, of course, when we incorporate the huehue, you know, they really like embrace the naturalness of what it is, you know, like our peeps, if it is, you know.
Cool.
Like
So-
anyone else has comments.
So have you guys ever been, I know you mentioned it's all, like, it's underground, your music's underground. Have you ever been signed to a label or run along with any kind of label, anything like that?
Samosinki or
We had a lot of, at what certain times we had a lot of interest or whatever, and actually we were gonna get signed to Polygram at one point, but like they couldn't understand like Chicanos as indigenous people. They were like, is this Latino or is this indigenous? Like they couldn't understand it. Like, but they and our reps here on the West Coast, they totally understood it. They were gonna offering us a deal, and we're gonna fly us to New York to do a showcase. And with the president, gathered like review everything with the president of, I guess, Polygram at the time, and the president had his marketing person, review it, blah blah, and it was like they couldn't understand it. They didn't know where they could market it, what it was.
where to categorize it.
But that's what's dope now, that the industry is basically, kind of laid on an open field where even magazines like yours is like, promoting groups like ours that wouldn't be out there. And I think it's a good time to just be free and do the music we want to do, like not have to have any labels, record labels telling us what we got to do. And we could just, the only thing is the whole strategy of being businessmen or autonomous, merchants or whatever, like what have you, and so.
Yeah.
But and then there was and also later on there was also other labels, but they tripped out, I guess, because we had a showcase, and then like just kind of like the other day at the show at the thing where like there was some ruckus all of a sudden from. There was ruckus in our show, and I think it scared all these A&R reps because of all shows, dude. This rowdiness starts happening, like kind of gangster element for some reason out of the blue, and it kind of alienated people from what we do.
Yeah. Well, that show was kind of like a separate thing, but I see what
I
you're
know,
saying.
yeah,
Kind of like,
absolutely.
kind of like the punk scene where it just, it's associated with violence and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we kind of gave out that impression when the latter time we were. Yeah, but we're good, man. Yeah.
Cool.
But we released a couple records, well, with Osamo Sinki, a Basque label actually. They put out our stuff, and that's how we ended up touring, southern and northern Spain,
Oh, okay.
and part of southern France actually. And that's how, like our music got to start traveling that way, but it's because of the label Osamo Sinki from, I don't know if you know this musician, but his name is Fermin Muguruza,
Okay.
which used to be a part of a band called Negu Kuriak.
Okay.
And he helped us out a lot in that, it's a label and that,
That's cool. And so what about your other traveling, like to Australia? Did you guys fund that yourselves?
It came from, how did it work out? It was it was like a World Indigenous Conference, and it's called a Adelaide Festival of the Arts. So they wanted it somehow.
They wanted traditional. They wanted world
Northern-
traditional
Contemporary.
indigenous performers as well as contemporary indigenous performers, and so we were able to represent that component and represent our experiences, how we view ourselves as human beings, and so we were invited, and we were amidst like Zulu traditional people and Maori people from New Zealand, and Australia. It was great. And so we were able
Hopi
to,
actually too. Well,
Pueblo,
the
Pueblo, Zuni people,
Zuni,
yeah.
Zunis are there.
and they all, it was like a world indigenous kind of thing in Australia, and they funded it. They flew us, and they, you know, we were there for about almost a week, I'd say, a
Wow.
week, and participating in the festival and the ceremonies. It was, and also performing. It was nice.
And throughout the day, they will have like the traditional dances, and then at night it will be the contemporary element to it. So it was good, man. It was a good experience.
It's a really interesting, unique show.
Also, like dialogue too. I think there was like dialogue within like different people that were doing contemporary music with the element of like indigenous element into it and how we incorporated it. It was good. It was a real good experience.
Cool. And so you guys have had your long career. Have you seen music evolve around you, like other bands, other music scenes? Have you know, witnessed those changes? And, you know, have those affected the music that you make at all? Like you said, you started in the punk scene, towards the end of that. New music started coming up, 90s music.
I mean, you know, like it's just weird. You see all these, you know, different, you know, but all those elements are still there. Like even, like I would say, even the elements that have seen evolve, like into like from punk to, you know, hip hop to you know, like just like rock and mixing it up with hip hop and to other prog rock, you know, groups and coming out in an electronic music. Like, I mean, I see like a synthesis of all those things, you know, as the years pass. Like now, like I feel like right now, like the music has evolved to a place where it's all of those things. Like I think not only within ourselves, but also seems like in a lot of other groups, it's like all those elements seem to be fusing in some ways or another. Some more than others, but and then if anything, I think I've seen like a constant kind of play with all those kind of elements, which at one time it was like everything was separate, right? Like, oh, what's this? And I'm only into this kind of music and that kind of music, but I see like exactly. But now it's all
Merged.
yeah, and all the young bucks. I mean, yeah, that's what's dope. Like back in in my day, you would be like, no, I'm only into, you know, this kind of punk and everyone's all like, you know, closed-minded in the music, but like it's dope to see like the youth like today they're like, hell no, they're into punk, they're into jazz, they're into James Brown, they're into dubstep, you know what I mean, and everything's a little. So it's interesting to see like that whole interplay and everybody's doing different. So it's dope, and I think that's gonna be an interesting musical future. I think for the landscape and the audioscape that is.
So also too, they're able to just put it out. You know, if you create it, you're just with the way the internet is. You're just able to,
cheaper recording systems too.
whatever, you just put it out. You know what I mean? Throw it on MySpace or whatever, any social network. So it's just making the music evolve quicker, and like get that feedback and work with other musicians throughout the world or whatever. You know what I mean?
Are you guys planning on putting your music, making it available online if it's not already?
Oh yeah, it's online already.
It's online already,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much everywhere you can play it, right?
Bandcamp, right? And iTunes and
Oh, cool.
Amazon and
Amazon,
yeah,
iTunes,
Rhapsody.
You notice a lot of
CD
people
Baby.
finding your music that way?
Yeah. It seems like we seem to be getting downloads.
Oh, cool.
Pretty somewhat consistently. I'm sure it'd be better if it was even more, but it's consistent enough to at least like once a week, twice a week. So it's pretty cool. It's
Cool.
It's getting out there.
So is music a full-time career for you guys, or do you have other jobs that you do?
We wish.